Yeah, this one feels much lighter than this one as well.
There's no rut. There's just a plastic Teflon tube on the inside there.
Welcome back to Christina's Garage Gearhead in Training. Today I'm at Teegarden Motorsport Specialties in Gold River, California. The goal is to learn more about fuel lines and what options there are, maybe a little bit about how they work. My brother's 68 Mustang Fastback is in need of some fuel lines. It had been sitting for about 3 to 4 years after my dad passed. From what I understand, the ethanol has eaten through those fuel lines, and when we turned the key over to get it started, fuel leaked all over the place. Today I am going to be learning more about that so that I can actually send this video to my brother. He's going to be in Japan for the next year. Being able to send this to him, he's going to see what options there are so he can make a decision on what he wants us to do for his 68 Mustang Fastback. This will also be super helpful for me when I actually continue building my 69 Camaro. I'm going to need to put fuel lines on it eventually. This information is going to carry over to that as well. This is Dave. This is your family business.
Yeah.
And I was recommended to come to you by Dave, Euler Insurance. Yeah. And then you mentioned that I just got back from the Bakersfield drag races and that you guys actually, a lot of your parts are on those boats as well. My brother's 68 Mustang Fastback, when we were going to switch the Holly system, we couldn't even get to that because we turned over the key and fuel started leaking all over the place. I was told that it might have been because of ethanol leaking through. I don't know if you're able to describe a little bit.
California street gas has ethanol in it, so it dries out the inside of most of your normal braided rubber-lined hose. That's why most fuel lines anymore, we're all going with a Teflon lined. They call it PTFE.
And is that what you only what you guys offer, or?
We offer all of it. So it's what the customer prefers, but in the end, fuel line nowadays, it's just safer to go with Teflon, and it keeps the smell away also.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Traditional line can let the smell of gas through. May not be the flammable part, but it's the nasty, smelly part of gas. And you can smell that through the line, especially like the black nylon covered braided. It seems to get right through that stuff.
We noticed only part of the lines. I haven't gone like super diagnostic with it. Would you suggest we change out all of the lines if we're having issues with part of them, or just start with the parts?
It depends on how old they are, how they were treated over the years. Oil lines generally last for quite a long time if they were nice to begin with.
Because these were, I think it was the fuel lines.
Fuel lines just kind of, it could be a year, it could be 3 years. Race car that sat for 10, 15 years and suddenly you decide to start it up, or you moved something and start it up and have some pressure on the fuel lines and they'll start leaking. That's California gas for you.
Got
and
it.
having ethanol in there. If you're on methanol or E85, something like that, E85 is really common now, you definitely want to go with Teflon lined hose for sure.
Okay. Would you be able to share what options you have here and kind of some of the differences?
For traditional hose, here's some of your choices right here. This is a rubber lined. There's the inside. It's CPE rubber on the inside. This is a push lock. We actually really like the push lock hose here. Really easy to do. It's just a simple push on nipple. It goes on, you got to cut the hose to get it back off. It doesn't just slide back off. This is the traditional hose end for braided AN hose ends. This would be the Teflon line. So this is what you'd want. You could use this, these are high enough pressure that you can actually use these for power steering also, which is kind of nice.
Oh.
So you can make all your lines match. You could use this stuff for anything really. And it's not going to go bad. There's no rubber on the inside.
And are they different between what application? Because it's more street driving. He's not going to be doing any crazy racing.
If I'm doing it from scratch, I would go with the Teflon lined, whether it's traditional or the really lightweight race stuff. If you're looking to save weight on a race car, but everyday stuff, This is a really nice hose right there from Frigola.
And
It can either be crimped or they have a builder style hose end, which that's when you're getting into the differences of how it goes together. It uses a little piece for the plastic tube that's inside.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like here's what it looks like on the inside.
Wow, it's really cool how you have it like flared out so you can actually see it. So that's what that, would you call that?
This is a builder style. We just call it a
Builder
builder style Teflon hose end because a lot of them are crimped. These are nice though. Just, I mean, if you're doing a fuel line, I would do that. And I mean, this is considered the same size as that one. And you can see the difference in size in the hose. So these tend to go through places a little bit better.
Is this builder style?
That is, but that's a traditional rubber. That's just old school AN braided line.
Okay. Yeah, this one feels much lighter than this one
It
as
is.
well.
There's just a plastic Teflon tube on the inside there.
And in terms of cost effectiveness or if someone's on a budget,
You're right. They're really pretty consistent with each other. They're really similar priced.
okay. So it'd be more of if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, and you said this one would be better for like if you're doing more
If
racing.
you're doing, no, I would do this. Even for the racing, it doesn't matter. If it's fuel, I would be going with a Teflon. Like these are both the same hose. This just
Okay.
has a coating on the outside. A lot of people like that, especially for the looks.
I do like the
Yeah.
the nice black too.
This does cost more with the coating on it than the non-coated. This one is actually more comparable price to
this
that guy.
Okay.
He's going to be a few dollars more per foot.
And you
for the
said this
coating.
one is rubber.
Yep.
And this one is Teflon.
Yep.
Okay, but Teflon is your #1 recommendation
For fuel, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, oil, water, you can kind of go with whatever you want. They all work well with it, but fuel, go with the Teflon stuff if you're starting over again. This is a cutter style hose end. Most of the better companies will make a mil spec fitting. So this actually cuts into the rubber. This would be like your cheaper, easier style. There's no cutter blade in there. This is for your Teflon line. So this is the little compression piece that crimps down over the plastic tube inside. And then this is a builder style power steering hose end, which is really similar to these guys. They just use hydraulic hose with this guy. And that's kind of your 4 basic builder hose ends that there are without having a crimp on fitting.
We have all this stuff underneath the car right now. If we want to, switch over to one of these options, what would we need to do to make those steps? Do we take everything off? Like, do we take videos of where things are?
That would matter more for you. If you want to take them off, then really all we need is just a simple measurement end to end and to the center of any bend.
Okay, so center of...
Or if you want to go to the end, you just tell the person that's doing it how you took the measurement, and then they can make it match.
Okay.
Or if you know your sizes, then mock up with hose ends, and then you can use some cheap hose just to run for a mock up.
And then you're able to be like, this
Get
is
it
what
exactly,
I have.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, really, we just need measurements.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to reroute, because for example, I don't know if my brother wants to reroute or not
Go
right
grab
now.
some really cheap, it could be garden hose, it could be some vinyl tubing from Home Depot, whatever's cheap and works good that way. You can route actual lines, and then you know exactly where it lays. That's a easy way to do it.
That way you're not under there, because tape measures don't do the same thing. If someone else is interested in getting product from you guys, you don't just do fuel lines, you said power steering lines. What else do you?
Anything AN plumbing. So we carry the bulk hard line stainless. We carry like the easy bend steel. We do a lot of brake fittings and hose. Anything like that, that's all brake line.
What application would people use this for?
That's just kind of to showing people clamps. Here's an AN style connection, which is basically like you're looking up here. It's just smaller. So your hard line is a simple tube nut and sleeve.
Wow.
There's 2 pieces and just 1 single flare. That is your AN connection. I think that's actually where it all comes from, is actually that right there. And then this is your just old school double flare.
Wow. There's so much to it.
Yeah, so this is how, if you're going to run braided line on the front of your, well, actually on the front of your Mustang, you'd be coming in, getting one of these fittings to take a clip. That goes in your frame, so your piece of hard line, so this is already on your car.
Okay.
Hanging right there. You get the simple adapter, it connects you over to AM. And one of the -3 braided lines, like this guy, would then run down, screw on, and run down to your caliper with either a banjo and bolt, you know, that would be the most normal.
Okay.
And it just screws right on. It just makes all the connections really easy and consistent throughout the whole.
And you said that's brake lines.
Yeah, this is brake lines
Okay.
here. You can do larger hard lines, you know, like there's fuel line stuff right there, you know, something like that.
Wow. There's so many different options.
There's almost too many. Yeah, here's like some master cylinder setup.
So brake lines, power steering lines, fuel lines, you're able to help people with any
coolant,
of those.
yep, all of it.
Your dad, Ray, was mentioning a little bit about the history. Would you mind sharing?
Yeah, because we started with XRP fittings, which many years ago when they first started was Keith Black Systems, you know, part of the engine shop that does all the top fuel motors from, you know, the 60s on, you know, till they're still around. Through whatever has happened, they changed their name. They're separate from them now, but that's actually how it started, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
How did you guys end up taking over as the family business?
We actually started out with race fuel, Trick Racing Gas, who was later bought by, you know, Sunoco Race Fuels. We serviced tracks and all the races. It didn't matter what it was, World Outlaws, drag boat races, a lot of circle track, a lot of drag strip. Every weekend we were somewhere servicing race fuel to the teams and the racers, and then the fittings just kind of became a automatic, you know, carry extra parts when you're on the truck or trailer. You have extra stuff. You've got, you know, gas jugs, tires, you know, just depends on what race you're at, but it was always a good thing to have fittings. Somebody always needed something. That and oil, that was the other reason for the oil too.
So you guys carry, because I see you have a bunch of oil in here as well.
Yeah, Amsoil's our main brand, yeah.
That's actually really cool because you have that experience and then you went to building the lines after you know how things work and you've seen it in use in all those different
And you know
avenues.
what works and what doesn't, and what brands you want to carry, you know, higher end brands, and US made stuff, that's the big thing. Yeah.
If someone is wanting to contact you guys, would you recommend them coming, like calling you or?
If you're local, obviously come in. It's the only, I mean, there's nothing better than laying hands directly on a fitting. You kind of don't know what someone's talking about till you really, it's nice to have it sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, give us a call. My email is easy, goneracing1@comcast.net. That's shop email. Don't have a good website up, but they've got a simple one.
Do you guys have like warranty or anything like customer service wise? Like if I, for example, if we tried to do our own and something went wrong versus, you know, if you guys did it.
We don't work directly on customer service. If you want us to build a line, absolutely we build a line. $12-15 to build a line. We can pressure test. We can do all that. If you have any issues, definitely bring it in. We can always help out or show you how to do something is the nice thing. If you need to return something, the only thing we don't take back is like cut hose. Like we cut custom length for you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Dave.
You
I
bet.
really appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to be back. If not for my brother's car, definitely for mine.
Okay, yeah, it's easy. It's not, it seems hard until you really sit down and look at it, and after you build a couple of hose ends, it's not that big a deal.
Now that I've learned a little bit about brake lines, we're going to get underneath the Mustang and apply that knowledge. We're going to take measurements, see if we need to reroute things, check and see what lines do need to be replaced, and is Matthew going to want us to replace all of them? Does Matthew want us to actually replace them ourselves, or does he want us to go to Teegarden to get them replaced? There's so many things that are to come. If you are interested in following along this journey, please subscribe to my channel. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you next week.